Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name's Erin and I do mostly budgeting videos, kind of like the one you're about to see here. First, thank you so much for spending some time with me by tuning into this video. I really appreciate it. I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about the rent money that my nephew pays to us and what we do with it and why we take it and things like that, because I've never really gone into too much depth about that. In fact, I never really talked about it much before I started doing videos with him on his budget. I did receive a comment, and it's not controversial in any way, shape, or form, and I didn't take it as an offense at all, but somebody had mentioned that they wouldn't feel comfortable or they would never charge a family member any type of rent. And to be honest with you guys, I can totally appreciate that perspective because everybody's different, and I also struggled with that in the beginning. I'm a person who I adore my family, and I would do absolutely anything for any of them. That being said, we also don't have kids, and it's actually really nice for us to have my nephew here. He's a really great kid. He has a great personality. He's helpful, and I've just always enjoyed being around him, you know, before he moved in and now after he's been here for a year. And so I struggled a little bit with charging him rent, and at first we didn't do that at all. But as things progressed and some different situations happened, we decided to do that. Now, I have this calendar here just as like a visual prop because it's just a Target dollar spot calendar. But I have his pay dates circled on here. I wanted to do this video because I wanted to give a little bit more explanation about the money and what I do with the money, and that way it will probably make a little bit more sense moving forward. He pays us bi-weekly, so he gets paid every 2 weeks, and I'll zoom in just a bit. He gets paid every 2 weeks, so he got paid on the 11th, and he'll get paid again this Thursday. And he has a pretty good job right now, and it's something that he can actually turn into a career because they offer apprenticeship opportunities. He does have a lot of opportunity for advancement, and he seems to like what he's doing. I am very excited for him, and I was thrilled when he was able to get this job, just knowing that there is room for advancement and opportunity in the future. When he first moved in with us, which was in April of 2019, so he's been here just a little over a year now. He didn't have that job. So when he first moved in here, we didn't charge him anything at all. And that was totally fine. And we were, you know, more than okay with that. When he got the job that he has now, when he was able to secure that job, that was probably in the fall. It might have been around September, October. So he started work there, and he started to make decent money, and you guys have seen his paychecks. We've gone over those before, and you guys know he's been able to save a ton of money in my opinion, probably about the same amount that I've been able to save, but he's been doing really, really well. And at the time, he felt like he should offer something because he was making more money, because his car was paid off, because he just was able to. And at the time, you know, we went back and forth about it. And at first we said, no, it was okay. And then we decided, you know what? That would be a little bit helpful. What he gets for the money that he gives to us every month. And I'm just going to jot this down just visually so I can keep track and so you guys can see. So we increased our internet, so our cable internet speed. And we did that because he's a gamer, and that's what he likes to do in some of his free time. So he has an Xbox, and he plays online with his friends. And I'm totally fine with that. You know, I don't think there's anything wrong with that in his free time. But we did increase our cable internet speed, which also increased our cable bill. We didn't have the type of plan that supported gaming. And to be honest with you, I didn't even know that that was a thing. It was just all a learning process. And, you know, come to find out, it was. So, you know, we decided to increase that, you know, just so he wouldn't drain the internet for the rest of us, which is just my husband and I, but still. Also in that money is all of his groceries. So when we sat down and we talked about his income and what he was bringing home versus what his expenses were, you know, his dad pays for his cell phone. He does not have a car payment. He is responsible for his insurance. He was responsible for a credit card. He and I sat down. We came up with a plan. We paid off his credit card. He did, but I'm just saying he and I came up with a plan for it. So as far as true bills go, he really doesn't have any bills to speak of except the car insurance. He did have a medical bill just recently that he was, that he needed to pay. But off the top of my head, I can't think of all his expenses, but you guys, if you've seen his videos, you know what he's, responsible for, and it's not a lot. He does get all the groceries, and he also gets all his lunches paid for. So in our grocery budget, in our food budget, in the meals that we cook, you know, there's usually leftovers and things like that, and he will take that to lunch the next day. What I don't usually tell you guys or talk about, just because it's just so much nitty gritty, when I make these meal plans, of course I make them with 3 people in mind. Usually, you know, there's plenty for him to take in his lunch the next day, but we go through a lot of pop. We go through a lot of snacks, we go through a lot of cereal, we go through a lot of milk, you know, things like that. And that's stuff that I usually add to my grocery list after the fact. So I usually budget $100 for our groceries every week, and that comes out of my money. But anything over and above, I usually take out of the money that he gives to us. So we did talk about that, and I said, if you want, you know, all your groceries to be taken care of, you know, you want to have meals and things like that, pack lunches, whatever the case may be. We talked about that. Did he want to do that on his own? In our basement, there's a full-size refrigerator, freezer. He's free to do that on his own and not give us all that money. That's perfectly fine with me. But as long as we're going to take care of it, it's an added expense and he can afford it. So I think that's where I kind of released myself of the struggle and the guilt about taking the money. He does give us $175 every 2 weeks. When he has, you know, something special going on, and it hasn't been for a while, guys, because, we've been under quarantine, but there's been times where he has, you know, done a little trip and things like that with friends, and he hasn't given us the money. And that's totally fine with me. As long as we talk about things and we always plan for things, I'm okay with that. But I just wanted it to be known that the money that he does give to us, I also think is a good habit to be in, because when he moves back out on his own, he's not going to have a roommate. He's not going to have somebody living with him, helping him budget and reminding him of certain things and, you know, kind of keeping an eye on his spending. I mean, of course, I'll always be here to help him if he needs it, but he's going to be completely on his own. And to be honest, he's going to be 25 years old. I don't think $350 for a month that includes groceries, that includes high-speed internet, that includes any laundry and, you know, that he wants to do. He uses our soap. He does laundry all the time. You know, there's just a lot of things to take into consideration when you have another person living with you. We do provide everything that's needed to live in our home for that money. So that being said, when we go out to eat, which isn't all the time, but when we do, we pay for him. Now, every couple of weeks, he does take us out to dinner. He'll take myself, my husband, and my mom, which is his grandma. And he likes to do that. That's something that he wanted to do. And I thought that that was really sweet. It was kind of a give back, you know, and just a really nice thing. And of course, we weren't able to really do that during quarantine, but he would get takeout. And I think it gives him like just a sense of satisfaction and a sense of giving, because he's a very giving person. And just, I don't know, it just, was a nice thing for him to do, and it became a habit, and it's something we totally appreciate. We don't expect it. If it doesn't happen, and there's been, you know, many times it hasn't happened, that's totally fine. But I think that instilling that generosity and instilling the habits of, you know, being responsible for certain things, contributing to a household, is all just great habits to be in. And I'm hoping that when he's my age or older and he has the opportunity to help somebody or assist them in some way, whether it's advice or financially or, you know, whatever the case may be, I'm hoping that that will be instilled in him and he'll be able to pay it forward. But to be honest, guys, he and I have talked about this with my husband. We've all had these conversations. If my husband and I were working full force and we both didn't have these setbacks with our job and we both weren't constantly, it feels like, getting knocked back, you know, backward lately, I wouldn't take anything from him. Or what I would do is I would take it, I would put it aside, and when he's ready to move out, I would hand it to him as a gift. That's my philosophy. I do what I can for my friends, for my family. I mean, that is my heart. That's where I feel, you know, best. I'm somebody who wants to help others whenever I can. And I don't know. So I just wanted to kind of clarify, you know, where the money goes. And sometimes the money goes towards things like maybe one night we get carry out and I didn't account for that in a cash envelope. So I'll dip into it that way. We always include him in that. Always, 100%. There is never a time where we do something special like that and we don't include him. And sometimes I just, you know, I sock that money away or I put it back into our savings account. For a while, I was doing that. We have a savings account. It's nothing huge, but it's part of our checking/savings at our bank. And sometimes I try to put money back into that because I've had to dip into that to make ends meet over the past months and things like that. So there's different things that I do with it, but I could definitely see where I should probably account for it more in my budgeting videos because it is money technically that is coming in. But I'm totally open with you guys. I'm very transparent on my channel and I'm totally willing to, you know, talk to you guys a little bit more in depth about that. But I just wanted to clarify, honestly, whatever anybody does or whatever they feel is right in their hearts, I say go for it. The comment that I received is nothing negative at all. There's nothing negative about it. Like I said, everybody's situation is different. Everybody's feelings and perspectives are different. And I totally appreciate somebody else's opinion. I really do. I hope that you appreciated the explanation. It made sense to you. If you have any questions, please leave them down below. Thank you guys for the support, the encouragement, the motivation lately. I just love you guys so much. And I can't tell you what a blessing and respite having this channel is and having you guys is during these hard times. So I really appreciate it. Thank you guys, and I'll see you next time.